welcome to my channel. This is Maria from Spain, and today I'm going to talk about yarn. Okay, so I have to tell you before I start that I am no expert. I've started crocheting a couple of months ago. That's all my experience for now in crocheting. I had never crocheted before. And basically I decided to start because I wanted to make these cute critters, amigurumi. If you are familiar with them, they are called amigurumi. So I wanted to start making these cute amigurumis, and I decided to learn how to crochet. And I had a bit of a bumpy start, which I'm going to talk about now. And then I'm going to give you a full review of the Softfun Scheepjes. I've decided to make this review as personally I haven't found a review on YouTube. I had been looking for a review in multiple languages because I tried in multiple languages. But I did not find a good review for this yarn. So I'm going to try and give you my honest opinion. As I said, I'm no expert, but I'm going to try and tell you how I feel when I work with this yarn. So to say the truth, when I started crocheting, I bought a basic pack from Amazon, a basic pack of acrylic yarn, just to start with. And this is the yarn that I got. It was 100% acrylic. And this gave me a really bad start. So the texture of this yarn, it might feel soft at the beginning, but working with it was a nightmare. So it kept like fraying. The hook kept going into the strands and made it really difficult to work with. I tried amigurumi with this one and I just couldn't get beyond the first 5 or 6 rows, and it didn't have any consistency whatsoever. So I really hated working with this. That was when I bought a couple of books, amigurumi books, and in one of the books they suggested using the Scheepjes katana, and that's where I became familiar with this brand, Scheepjes. If I'm not mistaken, it's a brand that comes from the Netherlands, but I might be mistaken. I'll check up on that. Anyway, I tried the katana and I tried the Calista, which is another kind of version that they recommend, and it was a little bit better, but I had a problem with both. The Calista for me was very hard to work with. So this is 100% cotton, and it says double gassed cotton, 100% double gassed cotton, which I have no idea what that means. And you can work it with a 4.5 to a 5 millimeter crochet hook. And it was, I mean, the end result when you crocheted with this one was nice. The stitches are very defined when you work with this, but my biggest problem was that for a beginner like me, I found it very tough to work with. So when I was trying to get my hook in the stitches, I was really having a hard time. My hands started hurting, my elbows started hurting, and then I looked for this on the internet, and I found that other crocheters have the same problem. They tend to have tendonitis in their elbows because of using 100% cotton. So I bought a few balls of this yarn. Wasn't really happy with it. I even got the smaller versions, but this is of the katana. This is the second one that I tried, the katana, and it was so much better. So stitching with the katana was easy. The stitches, they look quite neat. It's 100% mercerized cotton, and the hook that you were supposed to use is a 2.5 to a 3.5 millimeter hook. So as I said, this was much better. My only slight problem with this one was that the strand is very, very thin. So this would be like a sport weight. I think it's called a sport weight. Again, I'm no expert, but I think it's called a sport weight. It's a very fine strand. And for a beginner, this might be a problem because when you're a beginner, you don't really know how to control the tension when you're working. So I ended up having a lot of holes in my first project with this one. I did a bear's head and I'll try and pop it in now so you can see it, but I ended up having a lot of problems because the stitches, there were a lot of holes in between the stitches. And then I came across this, and as you can see, it convinced me so much that I tried to get my hands on as many colors as I could. This is the Scheepjes Softfun yarn, so I'm just gonna pick one. Okay, it's called Scheepjes Softfun, and this is a mixture. So this is the first big difference. It's 60% cotton, 40% acrylic, and the fact that it is a mixture, it makes it a little bit more flexible to work with. So when you are working with this yarn, you'll find out that you have a little bit of elasticity and you can control the tension a little bit better. At least that was my case for this kind of yarn. It's recommended that you use a 3.5 to a 4 millimeter hook, which is what I use. I use a 3.5 millimeter hook because it's what most amigurumi books suggest that you use. It's extremely soft to work with, so the texture, it feels extremely nice. It doesn't have a shine to it like the katana. You can see the difference. Let me try and compare it with another blue that I have. The katana has a shine to it, and that's because it's mercerized cotton. This, on the other hand, it doesn't have a shine to it. It's quite matte, and personally I do prefer this finish, the matte one, rather than the shiny one. You can see the difference. See? I prefer this finish. I think that it creates a softer look when you're working your amigurumi. So, things that I find in favor of this one. There are a lot of colors. You have the earth colors, you have different kinds of browns. I could get my hands on these browns. You have as many blues as you want. As you can see, these are all different blues, and there were even more. I just couldn't get my hands on them. You have greens, you have bright colors, you have darker tones as well. And so the color selection is great. The fact that it is a mixture of cotton and acrylic makes it easier to work with. I like the fact that it has a matte finish to it, so I like my work to look softer rather than shiny. And when you work with this, the stitches, they, for a beginner, at least like me, the stitches, they turn out really nicely. So this was the first critter that I did, the very first one. I will include the link for the book that I used to do this. I'm following the book of Animal Friends of Picapau. And I am delighted with this book. I'll probably add a review very soon of this book. So this was the first critter that I did, and you can see I noticed the biggest difference. I was still learning when I did the first leg, and you can see the spaces in between the stitches, and this is the big difference. When I started the second leg, oh, I was so much better already. So this is my first critter, and I was very happy with the result. Apart from the leg, which I messed up a little bit, and you can see the filling in various places, the rest looks pretty good. I mean, for a beginner, my sewing has to improve drastically, but using this yarn just made it so much easier. So I do recommend this yarn 100% if you are a beginner like me and you want to get your hands on yarn that it is easy to work with. I do recommend this yarn. I'm in Spain. I bought my yarn from an online shop that's called Kimidori, and Kimidori is actually a scrapbooking shop. So this is the logo of the shop, Kimidori. And here you have the details. It's actually a scrapbooking book, a shop, I mean. And as you can see from my channel, I am a scrapbooker. I've been a scrapbooker for quite a few years now, and I kind of wanted to try something different, and that's why I started amigurumi. And Kimidori started selling crochet items, and they had this yarn, and I decided to use it, and yeah, it was like the best change that I could have made. I hope this is helpful for any beginners out there, or anyone who was trying to find a review for this yarn and couldn't find it like me. I am totally in love with this yarn. I recommend it price-wise. That's another good thing that I didn't talk about price-wise. I think it's great. I've bought these balls for 250 euros. They were a little bit on sale in the shop, so they had a little bit of sale on them. The original price would be 3 euros. Just for you to get an idea. For Europe, it would be 3 euros. And yeah, that's it from me for today. And I'll probably be back and I'll give you a review of the book that I'm using to do these adorable critters. Bye!